Here are 10 VR games that seem to have gone under the radar. Downward Spiral Horus Station is a zero-gravity thriller available for PC and PlayStation VR. It's set in a space station that's been taken over by AI. You have to make your way through by using a grappling hook that pulls you through the environment. Later you do get an upgrade with a thruster gun. You can also grab the environment to move yourself around like in Lone Echo, although it's not the main way to move and it isn't as polished. You've got several different guns which you need to shoot robots. The gunplay feels great in Zero G, and it has nice progression, including new elements as you make your way through the levels. It also has co-op, so you can play through the entire game with a friend, and it's a game that really took me by surprise and deserves more attention. It's going to take you about 4 to 5 hours to complete, and it's priced well at £15 or $20. Vertigo Remastered launched earlier this year, and it's got criminally low reviews for such a good game. This is a remaster of an early VR game from 2016. It has a really well paced, interesting and creative linear single player campaign that takes you on a journey. It plays with scale really well. It uses a physics based combat system with you both shooting and hitting robot enemies. They've got some really great boss fights, and I enjoyed this one from start to finish. It's only available on PC on Steam right now. It took me about 4 hours to finish, and it's priced at £20 or $25. Operation Warcade is an old school throwback with a VR twist. It's based on those 80s arcade shooter cabinets, and you play the game by shooting enemies as you side scroll across the level. But as you go through the level you get power ups which warp you into the game first person. Sometimes you drive in a vehicle or fly in a plane, other times you're dual wielding shotguns or using throwing knives. It's really well done and has got a lot of content. There are actually loads of levels, and to progress you need to get stars. To get stars you have to complete objectives, with each level having different objectives. So for example, you might need to kill a certain amount of enemies, not kill any civilians, or maybe get so many kills with a certain weapon. It's really addictive and it's good value at £15 or $20, although it's an older game so it does go on sale often. It's available for PC and PlayStation VR. Katana X is a simple game involving you either slicing fruit or wooden poles, but it's one of the first games that uses physics to affect the way that you use your sword. Unlike more arcade games like Fruit Ninja, you have to think about the angle of the blade and also the amount of force that you put into your swing. A light swing won't cut all the way through. The best mode is Tatami, which features rising poles with sections of rope attached around them. You have to cut through the section of the rope, and you really have to think about the position of the sword and where you're swinging it. It's really addictive, and it's a great price at just over £5 or around $8. This one is only available on Steam on PC. Layers of Fear got a VR port which is available on both PC and Quest headsets. It's a walking simulator horror game, taking you on a terrifying journey through the mind of a painter who seems to be going insane. It's got some really trippy sections that really mess with your mind. It's not going to be for everyone. I'm not normally a VR horror gamer, but I really enjoyed this one. It does have some jump scares, but they're well done and they don't happen very often. One recommendation I will make if you're on PC is to turn off TAA, and then if you crank up super sampling as high as you can go, it looks great. I ran it at 300% through Steam VR and the game still ran well and it looked really sharp. It's going to take you about 3 to 4 hours to play through, and it's priced at £15 or $20. Windlands 2 came out on PC a while ago now, and it seems to have gone under the radar. It's a web-swinging game set in a fantasy land. You can run around at high speeds, jump and then grapple onto anything green in the world. It's not going to be good for people who suffer from motion sickness, but when you get the hang of the movement, it's incredibly satisfying. You've got a bow and arrow that you can spawn at any point, you have some smaller enemies that you have to take out in places, and several large boss fights. Swinging from a bush, firing an arrow and landing a hit, and then grappling onto another bush, all while flying through the air, is something that everyone needs to experience. You can also play through the entire game with up to 3 friends, with the game scaling the difficulty really well. It's a highly underrated game available through Steam and Oculus Store for £23 or $30. It's going to take you about 5 to 6 hours to complete. They've also got some challenge levels and races that you can compete online, either against players live or leaderboards. Freediver Triton Down is a short game only taking about 45 minutes, but it shouldn't be overlooked. It's available for Quest, PlayStation VR and PC VR, and it's easy to escape in a sinking ship. It's got some really intuitive controls where you have to move your arms like you're doing the breaststroke to move forwards. You can grab the world and pull yourself through it. You also don't have an oxygen tank, so you need to come up to the surface or grab oxygen masks to stop yourself drowning. It's extremely well done, and a great use of VR. I just wish it was longer. It's available for £6 or $9, but I have seen it on sale before. Replublique VR is a virtual reality version of the flat game that released back in 2015. It's available for all platforms, including the Oculus Go, but visually it's got some good upgrades on the PC and it looks great. It's a story-driven stealth game where you take control of CCTV cameras and you have to hack terminals and doors to help a young girl escape. You also control the girl using your thumbsticks, so it's a kind of third-person game and it works really well in VR. It's a relatively longer VR game. It's going to take you about 6 to 8 hours to complete. It's got some really good voice acting and a great story. It's also really cheap at £7 or $10. Contractors is an online first-person shooter available for PC. I think you can also play this one on Quest through SideQuest. Most people talk about Pavlov or Onward, but Contractors strikes a perfect balance between the two, with some nice maps, good gunplay, and it's my personal favourite VR multiplayer shooter that doesn't get enough tension. It's available for £15 or $20. Last on the list is a very recent release called Yupitergrad. It seems to have released relatively unnoticed. It's one of my favourite games from this year. It's only available on PC at the moment, but don't let the cartoon style graphics fool you. This game is great. It doesn't take itself very seriously, with you playing the role as a Russian cosmonaut, making your way through a space station, using plungers to stick to walls and ceilings and swinging your way around. It's one of those games that's easy to learn, but hard to master, and it gradually gets harder and with more challenging environments to make your way through. You have to avoid obstacles, open air vents, and it's just a lot of fun. It's not the longest game, at about 3 to 4 hours long, but it's very well priced at £11 or $15. It's definitely worth the full asking price. And that's it. If you think I've missed any games you think deserve to be on this list, then let me know. This is part 2, so if you want to check out part 1, click on the link on the video.